Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And today I have another 164 unboxing and review video for you guys. And today I've got what is essentially like a Bape kind of special. It's going to be made up of two parts, and this is the first one of two. There's been quite a few Bape releases recently, so for now I'm just going to start with these two Liberty Walk cars. Both pretty new. They've just been sort of released recently. Now, as you can see, these cars make a really good pairing. So one of the cars we'll do is this very cool R34 Skyline, and then the other one we have here is this really awesome Liberty Walk Aventador with a very wild body kit. So just to give you a very small introduction to this Bape style, this crazy camo liveries and stuff. So Bape is a legendary Japanese streetwear brand. And Bape stands for a bathing ape, and essentially the company is very well known for these kind of bold graphics, this camouflage sort of patterns, and they do a lot of these high profile collaborations, and very often they team up with like car builders such as Liberty Walk, and of course they do a lot of these different kind of diecast. So they do like race cars, and they do a lot of these kind of modified cars as well. So I'm starting off with this really awesome Liberty Walk Lamborghini Aventador, and we're going to go in chronological order of release. So this car came out this year in around January or so, and it was available in a few other colors. There's like I think there's like a gray sort of version, and there's also a very nice blue one. But of course I've got this green one over here. So presentation, firstly we've got this typical star model box, just says LBWK, and then we've got the clear window in the rear, nice big LBWK, and clear window front, top, and you can see the car really clearly there. And then just on the bottom we've got a little bit of writing, and you can see it says Liberty Walk official licensed product. So that's very good to know. And one thing you can see kind of hiding in the distance there is that we've got a little figurine to go with this car as well. So that's gonna be a really cool one. So let's crack this bad boy open. So you see it's got this like clear sort of cover, and it just slides out. And in the background we've also got the star model Aventador LP 700-4 2.0. And we've got this really nice acrylic cover, which you can see the car really nicely from all angles, and it's got this really beautiful white base, which sets a really nice contrast between the car itself and the base. And then of course just some screw holes at the bottom. So let's actually just remove this top, and you can see it's pretty loose actually, so that's not really a great thing. I'm not fond of that usually, because when I stack more on top of each other, they can just, like, this can kind of open and fall off. But anyways, let's get to the car, and there you go. You can see that the figures come loose, so that's a very funky little bear. That is so cool. It's kind of big comparing to the car actually. We'll check it out compared to the car in a moment, but that's a really funky design. So this is this bear. You often see this bear in kind of different sort of colors. Different artists do different like renditions. You get ones with like Union Jacks and all sorts of stuff. And this is a Japanese company again called Bape, and they often do these kind of collaborations. And of course with Bape they do quite a few as well. I've now removed the bear from its package so you can just get a little bit of a better look at it. It's pretty cool. I really like this. It's sort of a culmination of all these artistic things. So we've got like Liberty Walk, we've got Bape, and we've got this Bape as well. All sort of Japanese worlds combined into one funky little figurine. And it's got a pretty big stomach. Anyways, let's check the car out. Whoa. So now jumping into the car itself, you can see what a really nice striking look it has straight away. The sort of combination of this camouflage with a white base, as well as this black contrasted areas such as the front over there and this wing as well, and the wheels. It sets a really nice contrasted kind of look, and it looks very almost like military sort of style. So jumping into the paint, you can see that it's got a sort of kind of satin sort of texture to it. You can see it's got this like a little bit of a, like, I don't really want to say orange peely effect, but I suspect that's because this is some kind of a vinyl that's been put onto this car. But it looks really cool nonetheless, and of course the satin look really helps to add this military kind of vibe. Of course, you know, military vehicles aren't like a gloss or anything like that, so this actually adds to the vibe of the overall car. And now heading into some details, let's start off with the roof because it's one of the most predominant areas. So we've got this typical Bape logo, and that's actually like the face of a monkey over there. And then we've got AAPE by a bathing ape. Anyways, Liberty Walk, Top Eagle, Camo produce. And then heading a bit further down, we've got this really cool carbon fiber texture and this massive vents in the front like trunk area, and you can see those are actually 3D little sections over there, and the carbon fiber looks kind of nice as well. It's got a really fine grain in the carbon fiber as well, but it's not very glossy or anything like that. Once again, it's got a similar texture to the overall wrap of the car as well. And then we've got this large AAPE and then the Lamborghini logo just underneath that. Of course, we jump into the front headlights and you can see that they are 3D completely and they are separate elements. And it's even got quite a bit of silver in different sections of the little DRLs, as well as those little indicator pieces and the lights themselves. And then here we've got another bit of writing, which is very small, AAPE over there. And then the front, you can see it's got a really mean looking front bumper. Of course, the Aventadors do anyway, but of course with this Liberty Walk body kit, it really adds kind of an essence of, you know, like brutal kind of look to the car itself. So we got this really crazy little canard in the front, you know, on just under the lights on the side sort of, and then we've got this big sort of kit that kind of comes in this very jagged sort of shape protruding forward from the front of the car, and it bends around this edge and then it goes into this little side winglet intake just in front of the front wheels. Actually looking at the front wheels themselves, we've got a really nice multi-spoke style, so there's no dish on these wheels. It's got a little bit of like offset in, but there's no dish on them, and we'll get to the rear in a moment. But you can see that it does have a nice little Lamborghini logo, as well as that cool P0 writing, so the writing on the wheels always helps set it off. And then of course we've got some silver brake rotors, and we do have some brake calipers in there as well. Then heading a bit further in the car, you can see that it does have these little indentations where the body kit is joined onto the car as well. And although the shut lines are not very clear on this car, and I suspect it is because of this wrap, so we do lose a little bit of three-dimensionality in the body panel gaps and those sort of things. But that's neither here or there. It doesn't look obvious or anything like that. So of course with a real car you're gonna have very small panel gaps anyway. And then on the side it says AAPE by a bathing ape. That's a very cool, like solid sort of looking graphic. And then even on the DLO here on the side of the window, you can see it says Pop Eagle or Top Eagle, Top Eagle. And then of course we've got the side vent also finished in carbon fiber, and this carbon's quite a lot more glossy than it was on the bonnet, or so it seems to be the case. And then we've got a really deep side intake vent as well, and that's got quite a lot of three-dimensionality. You can see all the little like grill sort of structure in there. And then of course we have that carbon fiber body kit carrying through from the front all the way into the side skirts, and once again we've got this little winglet on the side, and it also has a little bit of writing. I will try to get the zoom for you Oh, that's very, very tiny. Something AAPE Universe, I think. Although, let me see if I can get it. There you go, somewhere in the AAPE universe. Wow, that is minuscule writing. You can see it comparing to my glove how small it is, but that's very good detail. And then of course the rear wheels. So these ones are a little bit deeper, I suppose. They are staggered, although still not a lot of dish for this Lamborghini. Usually these Lambos and Liberty Walk cars in general have quite a lot of dish in the wheels. Once again, the AAPE. And then on the back here on this intake, it says LB Performance, Forgiato and AirX. And then going to the rear, we've got a really nice three-dimensional section with this rear diffuser, and you can see this carbon fiber texture. It's kind of indexing through the side and going all the way back to the rear over there. And then we also come to this carbon fiber sort of continues all the way along the edge, and the very bottom, however, is just black though. So that's kind of interesting. And then of course we've got this quad exhaust setup in the center, just finished in black. You can also see now in the rear it's got this little 3D grille structure underneath the light itself, and then we've got this LB Performance writing on the number plate, and then we've got these three-dimensional lights. They don't look too deep, although they are 3D sections, but it doesn't have those sort of like Y-shaped lights embedded or anything like that. That's kind of typical of the Aventador. So those are very simplistic looking lights in there. And then we've got this very nice carbon fiber wing, and then on the side it says LBWK, and it's sitting on this like ducktail sort of stalks as well. And then it says AAPE now, so it actually says AA Pen Al, but yeah, AAPE now. And then we've got this little rear window over here, so there you can see the Lamborghini's engine inside there, and it does have a little bit of writing. And then you can actually see that it's got the Lamborghini logo on it as well. It actually says, does it say LB Performance? Yeah, it says LB Performance there on the engine itself. So that's quite intriguing. Usually it would just say Lamborghini, so that's very cool. And then once again, we've got that carbon fiber texture on the air intake over there. And this side is pretty much symmetrical to the other side. I think the design itself is, yeah, to me it looks identical. Like if I look at this strange shape, for instance, behind the front wheel, and like this little spot, you can see that little spot's there, and then we've got that strange shape. So I think it's literally just a mirror image of itself, although the top is not like mirrored in the center or anything. So they did a really, really good job in carrying this design into this entire car without it looking strange or anything like that. I've now also removed the car from its base just to give you a little bit of a better look at the underneath as well, because we haven't seen that yet. So as you can see, it's pretty simplistic. There's no writing or anything like that, and you can see the diffuser's three-dimensionality there a little bit, but yeah, nothing really of interest, but really wide tires actually, so that's very cool. And you can see that they're a little bit loose, but they don't exactly rotate. So if I just put it down here, you can see that it's not like a rolling model or anything like that. So it's got a little bit of movement, but nothing really in particular. And on the interior as well, you can see that it's really well modeled. So we've got these little air outlets there for the defrost of the window, and even on this front console you can see that it's got this nice carbon fiber texture running through it as well. And in the center as well, you can see that there's carbon fiber as well as the switches in the center console. And from here you can see that it does have some center console sections in the middle there, and we've got some buttons and the screen that would be in the center there as well. So although it's very dark in there, we can see that there's quite a lot of detail that's gone into this model. There is the steering wheel, can't really see any dials or anything like that. It's extremely dark in there. And then we've got these typical kind of Lambo seats. You can just kind of see it over there like that as well. So nice modeling on this car. You can now see the car in a more kind of dynamic sort of angle and lighting, and I really love the look of this car in totality. It's just so awesome. This camouflage finish is really suited to the Lamborghini style, especially with Liberty Walk as well. It's got a really aggressive sort of presence, and it just really emphasizes, you know, the Lamborghini quality. So, you know, Lambos usually have this like fighter jet styles, and their styling is very kind of militaristic and sharp, and this is such a fun contrast to add to the car. I'm really happy with the look of this. And of course that bear in the back also really helps to complete the look, so that's a really funky touch. It's such a unique you know, little added extra to this whole feel of the car. It's really cool. And of course these cars at the moment, they are available here and there, not in too many places, but you can find them for roughly between like around 40 to 50 pounds, something like that. And of course there are some other color variants. I think there's a gray and there's a blue one, which looks very nice, but of course I decided to just go with a standard green edition. And it was a release from this year as well, so this should still be available, and I think it's a really cool one to look out for if you want to grab one of these Bape cars. So of course, with the design that these Bape cars have, you know, this camouflage sort of look, it does kind of take away from the actual shapes of the car, so it's a little bit more tough to tell where all the edges of the car are, where the surfaces meet the car and how crisp they are and those sort of things. So that is the job of camouflage, I suppose. Even real companies run camo colors when testing prototypes and things like that, but that also takes away from the car's overall shape a little bit, so it blends all the surfaces in a little bit more together, which is typical of camo. But I think it's a very cool look, and it's definitely an awesome one to have in the collection. But now let's check out that crazy Skyline. And now we jump into this very cool R34 Skyline. So of course this one is made by Street Weapon, and I really like the fact that it's got this like Bape camo motif going all the way around the box. And of course it says LBWK R34 on all the sides, and we've got these clear windows on the top and the front, and underneath just a little bit of writing, it's not a toy, etc. But the car is very awesome looking straight away, just looking in there. And you can see it's got some kind of a little tissue thing in there, and one of those inserts to hold the bonnet down. So I've got really high hopes that this thing actually opens. So let's get this sick car out of this box. It just opens up like that, and we've got this little sleeve thing, and let's get it out of there. Come on, there you go. And it just comes straight out like that. Wow, that looks so awesome. Okay, let's have a look at the box quick. You can see we've also got this very cool little line art in the back here as well. It's a similar sort of style that like CM usually does in their cover art. So that's very cool. I like that a lot. And let's check the actual car out. So we've got this really nice acrylic box, and it's got a completely clear cover on the bottom as well, so we can actually see the car from underneath. Not too much detail once again, but this has kind of a like smoky effect as opposed to a normal clear, so that's a very cool little finish. I don't think I have any other models with that kind of finish. And of course this R34 is available from another brand, like other brands, especially from Mini GT, but they've just had this collaboration last year or so, and they did this huge 4-pack of cars, and it's got the R34 in this kind of livery, but the prices are just absolutely astronomical on those mini GT collectors cars. So we've got this one instead, and I think it's a very, very good compromise, especially at this price point. You know, looking at like 30 to 40 pounds or so for this car, and it just looks awesome. So we've got these little tabs, these like clear tape things. So just kind of peel that off and then open that up, and there you go. Wow. So we got this separate blister piece. Oh my word, look at this thing. That is so awesome. I love the look of this thing. Oh my goodness, what a cool looking car. That's got such a nice presence to it. I really, really like that. Oh man, I'm always a fan of these crazy silhouette R34s. You know, Liberty Walk really went all out when they did all these crazy kits. They've got like for the Sylvia, well, of course for the R34 and stuff, and they did this like homage kind of like reimagining of the old super silhouette cars. And the body kits they do for this is very cool. You can see how wide the fenders are in the front and the rear, and then we've got this colossal front intake, but I mean, it's just crazy, and I really love the look of this car in general. It's super awesome. And now let's start off with this plinth. So LBK ER34 Ghost Player. This is number 343 of 500. So most of these cars are limited. So of course that Lambo, this one, and the next one will be as well, which I will review after this in the second video. Let's start off with the actual finish. So we've got the same kind of similar looking camel wrap, but it's actually got a little bit of a different color. So you can see this one is quite a lot more vivid, whereas the Lambo was a lot more like toned down. It's more like an earthy green sort of colors, whereas this one is a lot more like vivid, like forest, like lively kind of green colors in this car. And then the finish, once again, I think it must be this like ironed on finish or some kind of a printing technique that gives it this little bit of an orange peel sort of effect, which is a bit of a shame, but I suppose that is just down to the manufacturing process and it's kind of unavoidable. But the car itself has excellent detail. Starting off with the roof again, you can see we've just got this normal camo sort of texture, no monkey on there, and then we've got this really big writing on the window, very predominant, just says Liberty Walk in massive letters. And then of course we can see the interior just a slightly bit as well, and you can see it's got the little vents to blow the air off the window as well, and we've got the little windscreen wipers as well. And then on the bonnet itself, it's very nice three-dimensionality on it. You can see that over here it's got these little cutout sort of sections, these little square sort of shapes. And then once again we've got this very nice air outlet, and it's also got this three-dimensional texture in there, so that's a very nice job. And of course LB, and then we've got the Bape monkey in white as well. And then it also says slammed. And then if we jump into the front, this bottom layer of the front bumper is very dark. I shall see if I can rotate the light a little bit for you, perhaps like that. And then you can see we've got this large intake in the front and then these two smaller ones, and then we've got a lot of intakes in this bumper, and it's all got a three-dimensional texture. So we don't see like a separate intercooler or anything like that, but we do have a little Liberty Walk number plate. And then we've got the front intake, but no GTR logo or anything like that. And of course we've got this insanely huge front splitter, and it says a bathing ape in colossal letters. So you definitely won't be missing that if it's coming towards you. And I mean, you're not gonna miss this car coming towards you anyway, because the color is so insane. And then we've got this really beautiful wide body kit just heading off this front fender. And we've got a little bit of three-dimensionality here as well, with this air outlet in front of the front wheel. And wow, look at that. This is not a feature that's often featured, but they've done a really nice job here on this air outlet, that it's also got this 3D texture over there. So I'm really happy to see that. And then while we're here, let's jump into these front wheels. So we've got these cool 5-spoke, well, it says Advan on the tires. I don't know about the wheel itself, but they look pretty simplistic, and it's got a kind of satin sort of like a matte kind of satin sort of finish on the wheels, and the hub and everything is just pure black. And then we've got these little silver wheel brake rotors, and then we've got the separate calipers as well, but they're the same color as the rotors. It would have been cool if they put like a Bape green on there. I think that would have really helped set it off. And then here on the fender as well, we've got a little bit of writing. It says apes something or other. On the bottom of the fender, this is kind of intriguing. This black effect runs all the way from the front, and it runs all the way into this front section, down the side into the side skirts, and all the way through into the rear bumper. It's in a way reminiscent of that black and red livery then. So we've got a lot of writing on the side of this car. We've got that Liberty Walk S or number 5, that LB works. It says Tokyo Custom, and then we've got this very funky Bape eye, and then this like mouth sort of. It's very typical of Bape and very cool. And then here we've got this nice little LB. It looks really great. It's almost got like a silver color to it. And then of course the Liberty Walk at the bottom. And then we've got this side exhaust, and that's actually got a black center and a silver edge. So that's really great detail actually. And then we come into this rear section here, and once again we've got this really nice grille texture, and that really gives it that nice 3-dimensional look of the air going towards the rear wheels. And we've got a lot of nice little details over here, something on Anchor, and these minuscule Bape logos and really minuscule writing. And then once again a bathing ape in huge letters. And then we've got these really cool rear wheels. They look the same as the front ones really. The offset is pretty much the same, although look at this one. It's not exactly ideal. I think I'm going to have to maybe rotate it or something, because the camber, I'd say the toe angle is very off, and I wonder if it's like that on the other side. No, the other side seems to be good, so I shall have to do a little bit of a repair on this one. Once again, nice little Advan writing again, and not really too much extra detail. And then one thing that's really cool is we've got this little silver like strip running all the way from there all the way into the rear, and I don't know why I like that so much, but it really helps give it a little bit of extra, like something like an extra bit of depth in this rear section, as opposed to just being black and kind of bland and sort of disappearing. It gives it a little bit of added extra attention to that rear, and I really like that. And now, of course, heading into the actual rear of the car itself, we've got these really nice little 3D tail lights. They are very dark in color, so there's not too much you can see. It is a 3-dimensional piece, but you don't kind of see any sort of depth looking through them, not much light traveling through those rear lights. And then we've got, of course, a bathing ape written on the back once again. And then you can see the curvature of the rear with the light hitting off it on this rear section. And once again, you can see the sort of shut lines, especially around the boot area. They do kind of disappear a little bit with this heavy kind of graphics that are installed on the car. But in the center and the rear, we've got the really nice little Liberty Walk writing there. And then we've got the reverse lights and the fog lights in the rear. And we've got this huge diffuser, and there it should, I think, be kind of poking through to see the rear wheels, but we don't get to see the rear tires, unfortunately, so I think that should have a hole going through it. But anyways, it is a crazy looking rear diffuser, and it's got quite a lot of 3-dimensionality to it as well, which is very nice. And then once we head to this side, you can actually see, whereas the other car was like identical on both sides, I don't know if it's the case with this car. I don't think so. If you look at the design, the colors, you see it's got a lot of primarily light green over here with a little bit of like heavier and a little bit of the dark. Whereas here it's got more of this like middle color and not as much light green. So I definitely think that it's not like a mirror. It's not like a mirror sort of finish to the design, which I actually like. I think that makes it a little bit more intriguing because we got a different look from this side than we do from this. Of course, the placement of the vinyl graphics are of course identical, so all the little logos are the same, but it looks very cool. Look at that profile, that is so awesome. So while we're here, you can see in the rear window, oh, and of course we've got the Liberty Walk on the wing, which is just finished in this nice little satin black. And if you look at the center support on the wing, it's like as thin as a needle. It's really, really amazing detail. And we've even got a little Bape logo on the wing itself, so really great attention to detail. Of course, on the rear windscreen, or the rear glass, I suppose, you can see it's got the defrost, and we do have some writing there as well. AK Produce, Bright Eric's, Advan Albi Performance, Pit One Tires, Pit One Pyres, okay, and Liberty Walk. Anyways. And then we can see on the interior that it's got a full-on roll cage as well, so that's really, really cool. And then we've got that like really nice little bucket seats in there, and the roll cage actually continues on the inside of the car completely. And then we've got the steering wheel as well, we've got a gauge cluster, we've even got indicator stalks, although I can't really see too much extra detail in there, but it's very, very well modeled on the interior as well. And now let's jump into the pièce de résistance of this car, which is of course this openable engine bay. So I'm very intrigued to see what lies underneath and this quality. So I think I can open it. There you go, from this direction. And oh man, that is so awesome. Wow, look at the details. That is really, really crazy. That is such a beautiful looking engine. They've done an incredible job running back to these old silhouette work style cars. So of course, I think I would have been definitely expecting to see an RB26 underneath the bonnet of this car, but as you can see, of course, this is not an RB26 motor. So you can actually see this is what it's called is an L28, and it's an inline 6 2.8 liter, although this car was bored out to 3.1 liters in real life. And you can even see it's got these like individual throttle bodies in there, and it's just really, really exquisite detail for this engine. It's a really iconic one. It was a real big, you know, like underground tuning thing for Nissan and Datsun, and it's kind of an iconic in Japanese motorsport for using this engine. And there was a lot of cars that had these engines, like 280ZX and like the Gloria, and there was even this Dome Zero concept, which looks insane, and it had the same engine as this. So that is a very nice surprise to see in the bonnet of this car. And then we've got this little battery box, we've got the fuse box as well, like brake booster, we've got some pipes running over here as well into the headers, and my word, that is really, really cool. I was not really expecting to see something as immaculate as that, and I'm really happy that they've managed to replicate this engine to such good quality. And you can just see in there as well, it's got quite a lot of details on the radiators as well. Wow, that is so awesome. I really, really like that. That is such a cool little addition for this car. Very nice. I've now removed the car off its base as well, so you can just get a little bit of a better view, and you can see how nicely the light actually hits off this paint, especially on these gloss black sections. It's got a really nice finish. So this like little bit of a like rougher texture is only present on wherever this kind of camo finish is. So it's actually got a really nice finish, and to my happy surprise, I managed to straighten these rear wheels as well, so that's very good. It wasn't too difficult. And of course on the bottom, we've got no writing or anything like that once again, which I don't know, it's a little bit strange to me, especially with these kind of models that are in limited numbers. You would expect some kind of a special little thing, but it is what it is. So now I wanted to give you a little bit of a dynamic view of the car, just spinning around here, just so we can appreciate the look of it in 360 degrees. I really like the look of this car, and I'm very, very happy that Street Weapon decided to make this car for us, and especially at such an achievable price. If you couldn't get the like mini GT cars, you know, then this is like such a good way to be able to appreciate the look and feel of this car. This Bape combination, it's very intriguing and very funky, and it's got a lot of life in it, and it's got these huge graphics, a bathing ape. It's got so much character, and especially offset with the contrast of the black on the wheels and the side skirts and the wing and all the little added details. I think it just creates such a good vibe and such a cool combination, and especially with it reflecting this Liberty Walk like silhouette look back into the past vibe. I think they've really like knocked this one out the park, and especially the fact that it's also got that legitimate engine that L28 represented. It's not just like they didn't just throw in some random mold that they had from another car. They actually molded a special engine for this car specifically. I'm extremely happy with it, and I think what a cool addition. And I think these two cars make such a nice pairing together. And finally we have the two cars together, and what a perfect team I think these two make. It's such a beautiful culmination of a Japanese, you know, tuning culture. We've got two Liberty Walk cars. Okay, one of them is a Lambo, but the other is a Skyline as well. And then of course, let's not forget about our little friend over here, this Japanese bear as well. And it's such a nice combination, and it's a really funky contrast set between all these elements, this camo, the details of you know, the writing, and it's really intriguing and a very nice contrast is set between these. Of course, with the unavailability of the mini GTs, we just kind of have to accept what we can get, and I think what we got this time is really, really incredible, and I'm extremely happy with these. And I would suggest you grab some of these cars while they're still available at good prices, because these are really a big hit in my eyes. And of course, thank you guys for watching, and I've got another one coming up. That's the part 2 of the Bape special, although that one is not a Liberty Walk car, so stay tuned, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy, guys. Ciao.